Hey, Rumbung World Entertainment, and you can see the headline right there because this is not good news. It's bad enough that they want to remake Escape from New York, but now you can see Zack Snyder to write and direct reimagining of John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Now I saw the news of him directing it last night, but now the fact that we're finding out he's going to be writing it as well, yeah, no. You see, he's a guy that if he is handed a property, that the script and stuff is already there, obviously he'll have a little bit of input, but if the main story and stuff is there, I think he works quite well. But it's when he gets full control to where he's writing it and directing it and stuff, that's when you get garbage like Rebel Moon and stuff. But look, does anybody even want an Escape from New York remake? No. And Frank Grillo apparently wants in on this. Now, I don't know whether he wants to play Snake Plissken or whether he just wants to be a part of the movie, but he says he wants to be in it. Fans apparently are calling for one of two people to portray the new version of Snake. One is Kurt Russell's very own son, Wyatt Russell, which makes sense, but I don't think Wyatt wants to go in the direction of just taking over the roles for his father. He's even said that in interviews that he doesn't see that working out all that great. The other person that fans want is Henry Cavill, but I don't see Henry Cavill fitting Snake Plissken, one of the only roles I really don't see him actually fitting in. But let's have a look at exactly what is going on here, because again, this is not good news. So we got word that a new take on John Carpenter's Escape from New York was officially moving ahead at Studio Channel at CinemaCon in April, and the project has now enlisted a director who's sure to get fans talking. THR reports that Zack Snyder will write and direct the new film, which is being described as a reimagining, which is also one of those phrases that people go, uh-oh. The divisive filmmaker will also produce alongside his Stone Quarry production company partners Deborah Snyder and Wesley Kohler. Carpenter is also on board as an executive producer. So at least you have Carpenter involved in some way. He probably is there in name and name only, which then that kind of runs into the problems as well. So details are still under wraps, but the trade believes that Snyder aims to make a more down and dirty movie, using plenty of practical effects or locations like he did when he remade Dawn of the Dead as his feature debut. Then something more overtly slick, such as his later superhero hits, including Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. So hang on, we're talking about Escape from New York here, which is in a dystopian future. It's already dark and dingy and stuff like that. What the hell does it mean he wants to make it more down and dirty? Like, what? It's almost like he's never seen Escape from New York. So there have been several attempts to get a reboot of Escape from New York off the ground over the past few years. The Invisible Man director, Leia, whatever the hell, Wanley, I have no idea how the hell to pronounce this person's name, was believed to be developing a remake of the movie back in 2021. And more recently, 20th Century Studios said to be in talks with Tyler Gillett, Matt, how the hell did, there's a bunch of bloody people, a trio, collectively known as Radio Silence, to take the helm of the remake. Why would 20th Century Studio be involved? They have nothing to do with Escape from New York. It's a studio channel, whatever the hell it's called, movie. So why would they be there? So there were rumours that star Kurt Russell might be in line to reprise the role of Snake Plissken for the version of the movie Radio Silence was attached to, but it's assumed that a new actor will be cast for Snyder's film. Well, that's obvious that that'll happen. And again, and this is one thing to point out, when it comes to the movies that Kurt Russell and John Carpenter have done together, Kurt Russell has flat out said the only way he would be interested in returning to those roles was if it was with John Carpenter and John Carpenter had written and was going to direct those movies. So the idea that he could have come back without Carpenter, never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. But they kept pushing this idea, and it's like, no, it's not gonna happen. It was never gonna happen. But the idea now that they want to go, obviously, with a new actor, you have to start asking the questions. If they make this and it works, like it actually succeeds, maybe it won't be received well, but it works and it makes money. Are we looking at them going to move forward and do a remake of Escape from LA? Because that was the sequel to this. Or do they go in a completely different direction? Quite frankly, I don't see this movie working at all. And I would not be surprised if it just ends up being a streaming movie. Because I don't know if any studio, like distributor, would be willing to take the risk. Like, would they want to invest in it? Like, you're sitting there going, Escape from New York, written and directed by Zack Snyder, with God knows who playing Snake Plissken. It's got real question of, do you see a viable audience for this thing? And the answer is no. I don't see an audience for this at all. I really don't. Like, we've already done a story about how certain movies now are being rejected by younger audiences because they think they're boomer movies. Like, even Mortal Kombat 2, apparently, they were like, oh, that's just a boomer movie. How are you going to convince a younger audience that this movie is for them? Like, it's crazy. I cannot see this working. And with Zack Snyder writing and directing it, I absolutely do not see this working in any way whatsoever. It is going to be incredibly interesting, though, to see how this works, if it can work. Like, look, at the end of the day, this could all fall apart, and we get the typical, oh, he's walked away over creative differences, which will make no sense if he's writing and directing the bloody thing, but it still happens. If people want to interfere, if the studio wants to interfere or something, very much can happen. But realistically, when we take a step back, can you see anybody other than Kurt Russell playing Snake Plissken? Because I can't. I cannot envision anyone else portraying that character. And again, this thing of he wants to make the movie a down and dirty movie. What the hell does that mean? And they love to use plenty of practical effects or locations. You mean exactly like the original movie did? There was no exact special effects back in them days, so it sounds like a clusterfuck in my opinion. And again, Frank Grillo wants in on it for some reason. Don't know whether or not he wants to play Snake or not, but it's so strange. I definitely don't see Frank Grillo being Snake Plissken. Just why do this? It makes no sense to me. But what do you guys think? Are you interested in a remake, or as they're calling it now, a reimagining of Escape from New York, written and directed by Zack Snyder? Do let me know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and hit that hype button and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.